Push Keyz in the building.
Yo, yo, yo.
How's it
What's
going,
going on?
bro?
I'm good, brother. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I appreciate you taking the time to do this. Representing OP, Orton Park.
Yeah, you already know Big Fives, man.
What was it like growing up in Orton Park?
Growing up in OP, it's regular hood shit, man, you know? You're on the block with the guys, you know what I mean? You grow up together, you end up doing stuff together, you know what I mean? Start rapping together, man's come together and say we want to do something, right? Can't just be out in the hood, you know?
Yeah.
So growing up in OP, we just been trying to figure it out, you know, and I guess we found music is the way, right?
Yeah. And when did you start to see like results from your music? Because you have pretty good numbers, especially considering artists in the city.
Yeah, honestly, when I came out of jail, my numbers peaked the most, and due to certain things that happened around me releasing my music, that's been like the highest peak in my numbers. But I was trying to stay consistent before all the jail stuff. You know what I mean?
I feel you. I've been seeing Streameum. I've been seeing Streameum a lot. It's like this kind of new
Yeah.
platform entertainment label kind of thing. So how would you describe your relationship with Streameum?
Yeah, that's my dog. Streameum's my dog. Still, we're super locked in. He deals with all the artists in the city. Blessed, as far as I see, he deals with me. Blessed as an artist. You know what I mean? And he's putting on right now for the city. I can't. You know what I mean? You gotta give him his flowers.
Feel you. Okay, so this is kind of a random question because I'm not hood, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So this is from an outside perspective looking in. But do people listen to their Opps music?
It depends. It depends on what kind of ops and how deep shit is, right? If it's not super deep, then you probably won't care what ops are saying on the track, right? But you know what I mean? When it comes to dissing and you know what I mean? Can't listen to that. I don't want to hear that from my people, my ops, you know what I'm saying? So it's like,
Has there ever been a situation where you're like out in public and then like this a song comes on that you're like, oh my God, this guy.
like everywhere you go, it happens, right? It probably happens for everybody. You hear a song that you don't like because people are talking, but it's like you have to know how to conduct yourself, right? It's a song at the end of the day.
Feel you. Do you Push Keyz? Do you believe in God?
Yeah, I reverted to Islam in 2021 actually.
Mashallah.
During Ramadan, the first Jummah of Ramadan, I reverted. So I definitely believe in Allah, you know.
How did that come about? Because, you know, as someone who's gone through a lot, you know, a lot of people who experience hardships, it pushes away their belief in God because they're like, how could God be real if like all this stuff happened to me? So how did you find your faith in Islam?
Honestly, so my grandma's very spiritual. She's not Islamic herself, she's Christian, but what she taught me is basically all these trials and tribulations are just tests. God tests his strongest soldiers, right? So you just have to push through. Can't look at it like, why is God doing this to me? Why is God doing this? Because if you really think about it, there's people going through way crazier stuff than we are, right?
Yeah, I feel you. And on that topic, so what do you think happens when someone dies? Like, is there an afterlife? Where do you see it?
Yeah, there has to be an afterlife. In Islam, they say there's heaven or hell, Jannah or Jahannam, right? So it's like the afterlife. I believe we have souls, and after you die, your soul has to go somewhere, right?
Yeah, I feel you.
Whether you're reborn, whether you go to Jannah, Jahannam, you know.
So I didn't. I don't know how old are you? Like
I'm 24 still.
24.
Yeah, I
Okay,
was born
so
2000.
2000. Okay, so like I'm 29. So to me, like you're like this is like a young man, you know. So
Yeah.
how do you feel like experiencing the death of a loved one affects the psychology of a young man?
Honestly, the way that it affects people, I feel it affects everybody the same. A loss is a loss, you know what I mean? Maybe because of street things around it, people will feel like they can't talk to other people about it, or there's nobody they could turn to, but there's always somebody you could bounce your feelings off of, bounce your head off, you know? So effect wise, like it does take a toll, but it's like any other loss in life. You have to learn to push through and cope with it, right?
Do you feel like you were kind of forced to grow up quicker like grow up at an early age, mature at an early age based on like your environment?
Honestly, I can't really say it's my environment that forced me myself to grow up earlier. I'd say it's more my family dynamic and how things went. I have an older brother. My older brother is, I believe, your age, 29, right?
Mhm.
So it's like he's been in and out of jail his whole life. So my mom and my dad are not together. So seeing that there's no older role model for my siblings, I had to kind of focus up, you know what I mean? So it's
Mhm.
like I did have to grow earlier, but I wouldn't say that's because of my environment. That's more just my family. If we lived in a proper household and say our family split like that, I feel it'd be the same thing, you know?
Mm. Yeah, because I find it interesting because a lot of people who had tougher upbringings, like even in school, like the kids would be allowed to be kids, but people who were in harder situations, you could tell like they were a little more mature. Maybe they understood like certain life earlier than most kids, you know, like maybe instead of learning about it when they were 16, they learned about it when they
Yeah.
were like 11, you know? So did you feel that like when you were going to school, you're like, damn, like all these kids are like miskeens and me, like I'm going through XYZ?
Not really, but like in a sense, it's hard to focus on your schooling and think when you have all these things on your head about how things are going at home, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of, I didn't finish high school, you know? So it's like
Mm,
every time I would try to, something in my life kind of swayed me from going, or I felt I couldn't focus or have the time to, right? I had other
mm.
things I had to deal with.
Were there ever any classes that you enjoyed in school, like while you're
Honestly,
going?
I love math. I like numbers. I like science and how like things work. Um, even computers and stuff like that.
Mm,
I'm into all of that stuff because that's a part of even engineering and music, right? How the computer works.
yeah.
Um, I took business in grade 9, so I learned a little bit about marketing. So
Mhm,
that's how, with my career, honestly, I do most of my stuff independently, right?
mhm,
All the connections I make, I try to keep it independent.
mm. So, speaking about your music, what Toronto rap did you listen to coming up?
All of it, honestly. Like whoever was hot, like Roni and these guys were hot those times. Sab G, Heartless G, uh, all over the west side and the east side. You know, those times I wasn't really in no politics, nothing like that. So anything that bumped, I bumped to. You know,
Mm, okay. This is kind of a like a segue to a different topic, but if you had one last meal before you died, what would it be?
honestly, steak and something, steak, mashed potatoes, steak and lobster. I don't think I could just have one meal though. Like
Mhm.
I don't think I could just pick one thing. It'd have to be like a feast. You know.
What would be on the table? Like, what would be on the platter, the buffet? So you got steak, you got some
Got
steaks.
steak, we got lobster, we got my grandma's macaroni pie, we got my dad's jerk chicken, you know what I'm saying? Got mom's curry goat, oxtail, all of that,
Mm,
you know what I'm saying? And then honestly, I'm like a fast food guy.
mm,
There's gotta be some McDonald's and stuff, and there's some Wendy's, you know,
mm.
Whopper here, chicken sandwich there.
So like, okay, like what's like an average day of eating for Push Keys? Like, do you first of all pause for saying eating because I learned that recently that that's not really allowed. But in terms of food, like what's like an average day like for you?
Yeah. So when I consume, I don't start in the morning. I don't start in the morning. I don't usually eat breakfast. Sometimes I wake up mad late. You know those ones? Today's an early day for me. So usually I'll wake up, I'll smoke, and I'll probably order Uber Eats. So I don't know, like a McDonald's, anything that's like quick and fast. You know, I want it to
Mm,
come down. You know those ones, and
mm,
then later on in the night, I'll probably like pick like some Indian food, maybe biryani, um, shawarma, something. You know what I mean? Something
mhm.
different. And then like all throughout the day, I'm usually snacking. So I'm a fat kid.
But you're saying like you enjoy like steaks and stuff. So like what
Yeah.
are do you ever like go to steak houses like in the city and
Yeah,
stuff?
honestly, that's more like with my peoples, you know. So that's
Mm,
not like a everyday thing, but like,
mm,
yeah, when it's like I'm taking my people out or we're trying to go eat somewhere nice and not just like in and out. You know what I mean? Yeah, we go like the Keg, Boxies. I go any steakhouse, honestly, anywhere
mm,
that serves steak. We go Bruce Chris, you
mm,
know, Casa Loma. Earls. I've been through all of these spots. Harbor 60,
Jeez, which one is the best?
Ruth Chris. Ruth Chris is pissed. Ruth Chris is so pissed. It's expensive, but it's pissed still. I feel like Casa Loma wasn't really like wasn't all that. It was way too expensive for how it tastes. So,
When you were younger, what career did you want to pursue?
honestly, I wanted to do something in engineering, like or maybe mechanic, because my grandpa he used to fix like garbage trucks, right? And that's good money, you know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Benefits and all of that. So I thought about getting into that, but very young, like the music came to me, and I kind of felt like this is my path, you know.
Mhm. Will you be releasing a project anytime soon?
Uh, Something like that, something like that. We got some shit in the works. Shout out Streameum and shout out B3. You know what I mean? Me and
Mm.
B3, we last year we were working super hard. I was over at the studio all the time. You know what I mean? So
Mm.
I've been kind of taking a break from recording now, getting these videos done, and yeah, I'm putting a project together.
Yo,
It's time for that debut. You know,
facts. So you don't have a debut album out yet. It's just been bare singles.
all singles,
Oh
all
man.
singles.
Jeez.
Just been fired.
I've always been curious to know, and like you don't have to tell me the details, but like with Streamium, like is it more of a partnership or are you like signed to them?
No, I'm in a partnership. I believe he does like deals or he offers deals. I don't know if anybody's in a full contract with him, but yeah, be it him or right now in a partnership, I'd say.
Okay, that's proper. Do you ever see a day where you stop making quote unquote drill music and transition to different genres?
So I like that you asked that honestly because in Islam, music in itself, like it's haram, you know, it's no good. So I'm in between my talent God gave me and what's right. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So in Islam, there's music, but it's all like the instruments are off your body. You know, there's no instruments, no drum, no nothing like that. So maybe in the future, once I get to the point where people are actually listening to me, I start making those and I release those and you know, I clean my slate.
Oh, so we might see like a Nasheeds project from Push
Yeah,
Keyz.
yeah. But eventually, that's where I wanna end off my music career. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Definitely, I have different sounds that are not drill. I haven't really been releasing other sounds. I've been trying to establish my sound with my fan base, right? So
Mm.
now that I feel like I'm getting there, you guys will also be hearing different sounds from me too. I'll be experimenting with other things too. So
That's proper, yo. It's interesting because I wanted to ask when you were going on this like spiritual quest, I'm sure you didn't just look at Islam, you're probably looking at other religions and stuff. So what was it?
honestly,
Mm.
I was so far from religion that it was more of like a straight path into Islam.
Hmm. So it's
A
not like you
lot,
looked at Christianity and then like,
yeah, like I wasn't going to church. I rarely pray. I just talk to God here and there. It's honestly like more when I find myself in a sticky situation, I'm begging him to help me. You know those ones.
mm-hmm.
But
That's
I
really
seen I seen that Islam was a heavy presence in a lot of people around me, and I seen what it did for them, especially a lot of my friends that reverted to Islam, right? So
mm. Do you ever like aspire to see a day where like you have like a Muslim wife and like you have like a family and stuff?
I mean, if I beat a girl that's Islamic in the future, then that's how it would go, right? We'd have the nikah or whatever.
Mm.
But if I meet like a regular girl, I wouldn't force her into Islam. I just show it to her. You know, I give dawah, which is spreading Islam. So
Mm.
I'd try to will her but not force her. Because if you revert, it has to be for your own reasons, and you really need to believe in Allah and that Muhammad is the last prophet. You know?
Mm. You know what's interesting is that like because Christianity is so disorganized, I really feel like if all like let's say all these like different hoods and stuff, all the mans accepted Islam, right?
Yeah,
That could be one of the routes to peace because I
yeah,
understand it like it's complicated to just be like, oh, everyone should get along. It's like, nah, there's like deep-seated like conflicts between different ends and stuff, and like blood has been shed. So it's not just simple as being like, you guys should just apologize. But if everyone were to kind of embrace that path, do you feel like that could be a way where we could see more peace between the hoods in Toronto?
I mean, it's what's needed, right? If we talk about it, it's what's needed. But if we talk about how people feel about that, they're not gonna sway that way, you know. And it
Mm.
is what it is. It's a generational curse, you know. Been like this.
Did you get any like crazy reactions when you reverted?
From my family, no, no. From my friends, no. It's all positive, right?
Hmm.
It's a positive change in my life, so nothing crazy. Like maybe shocked that I even like turned to something spiritual like that. Yeah, but nothing like why would you do that, you know?
Hmm.
All positive embrace.
Mashallah. Well, Push Keys, man. I appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you
Uh,
for having me, brother.